Chapter 10 Topic 17. The story of Hadhrat Asma bint Abu Bakr, radhiyallahu anha. Hadhrat Asma bint Abu Bakr, radhiyallahu anha, is the daughter of Hadhrat Abu Bakr, radhiyallahu anhu, mother of Hadhrat Abdullah bin Zubair, radhiyallahu anhu, and stepsister of Hadhrat Aisha, radhiyallahu anha. She is one of the most famous women of her time. She was the 18th person to embrace Islam. She was 27 years old at the time of the Hadhrat. After the migration from Mecca, when the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Hadhrat Abu Bakr, radhiyallahu anhu, reached Medina safely, they sent Hadhrat Zaid, radhiyallahu anhu, and some other Sahaba to bring their families from Mecca. Hadhrat Asma, radhiyallahu anhu, came to Medina with Hadhrat Abu Bakr, radhiyallahu anhu's family. When she reached Quba, she gave birth to Hadhrat Abdullah bin Zubair, radhiyallahu anhu, the first Muslim baby born since the Hadhrat. She says, "When I was married to Hadhrat Zubair, radhiyallahu anhu, he had neither money nor property of any kind. He had only one camel for carrying water and one horse. I would bring fodder for the animals and date stones to feed them instead of grass, bring water from the well, mend buckets myself when needed, and attend to other domestic duties. Attending to the horse was the most difficult of all jobs. I was not good at baking and, therefore, after kneading the flour, I would take it to Ansar women in my neighborhood, who would bake bread for me. When we arrived in Medina, the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, allowed a piece of land to Hadhrat Zubair, radhiyallahu anhu, 2 miles away from the town. I would bring date stones from there on my head. One day when I was coming in this fashion, I met the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with a group of Ansar in the way. He stopped his camel. From his gesture, I understood that he intended to give me a lift. I felt shy about going with men, and I also remembered that Hadhrat Zubair, radhiyallahu anhu, was very sensitive in this matter. The Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, understood my hesitation and left me alone. When I reached home, I narrated the story to Hadhrat Zubair, radhiyallahu anhu, and told him that, due to my shyness and his sensitiveness, I did not avail of the offer of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "By Allah, I am more sensitive about your carrying the load over such a long distance, but I cannot help it." In fact, Sahaba remained occupied in striving on the path of Allah, and all other such jobs had to be done by their womenfolk. Sometime later, Hadhrat Abu Bakr, radhiyallahu anhu, transferred to us a servant that the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, had given to him. I was therefore relieved of attending to the horse, which had been very hard for me.